Hi, this is a help video on your recursions and exponential functions task in Advanced Mathematical Decision Making B, or if you're in the AB course, this is in the Reasoning Using Math Models module. So the directions say different balls bounce at various heights depending on things like the type of the ball, the pressure of the air in the ball, and the surface on which it is bounced. The rebound percentage of a ball is found by determining the quotient of the rebound height. That is the height of each bounce to the height of the ball before that bounce converted to a percentage. As a reminder, quotient means you're dividing or you have a fraction with a number divided by another number. When you divide those out with your calculator, it converts it to a percentage. Number 1 says collect data on a bouncing ball that shows the maximum height of at least 5 bounces of the ball. Then make a scatter plot of the maximum height as a function of the bounce number. Let 0 be the initial drop height of the ball. So luckily you don't actually have to complete this because in the directions for the task, it says to use the data collection from the Bouncing Ball Interactive to complete the task. And that is over here on page 4 of your Reasoning Using Math Models module. So if you view this right here, this video, it's going to lead you through how to complete that. I've already paused the video so that we can log the data that was collected from this interactive into our worksheet. So here it told us, and you'll need to go back and view this in order to fill in the numbers I'm about to give you. But it does say that it starts at a height of 3 feet. Then it says after the first bounce, it's 2.28 feet. After the second bounce, it goes up to 1.74. Then 1.33. Then 1.05. And 0.81. Clearly we can see that when we drop the ball from 3 feet, it's going to hit the ground and it's going to bounce back up, but not all the way back up to 3 feet, obviously due to gravity. Then over here on your graph, you need to plot these points. 0, 3, which would be right here. 1, 2.28, which is going to be about right here, and so forth and so on. And once you graph all of those points, you're going to have what's called exponential decay. It's going to be kind of hard for me to draw this, but it's going to look basically something like that. So that's just the general pattern, but you are going to need to go and put these exact points in there. Then when you find the average rebound percentage, remember that is, it says the rebound percentage of a ball is found by determining the quotient of the rebound height to the height of the ball before that bounce. So to do that, the height was 3 here. You need to go and fill in all of these again, 2.28. And I'll do the first one with you. The process is going to be you'll take 2.28 and divide by 3. When you put that into your calculator, that's going to round off to about 0.76, which is 76%. Then you'll need to go and do the exact same thing throughout this table. You'll take this, whatever quantity is here, which is 1.74, and then you'll take 1.74 divided by 2.28. You'll just divide by the previous height. Let's take a look at number 3 briefly. It says tennis balls are sealed in a pressurized container to maintain the rebound percentage of the balls. A tennis ball has a rebound percentage of 55% when it is taken out of the pressurized can. Suppose a tennis ball is dropped from a height of 2 meters onto a tennis court. Use the rebound rate given to predict the height of the ball's first 7 bounces. So in a sense, we're taking what we did before, but we're reversing that process. So instead of given the height and calculating the percentage, we're given the percentage and we calculate the height. So first, if it starts at 2, then you'll do 2 times 55%. Which, remember, when you put this into your calculator, that 55% is 0.55. That's going to give you an answer of 1.1. So that's going to be the height of the rebound from the first bounce. And you'll just keep doing that. Then you'll take 1.1 times 0.55, and then you'll take that number times 0.55, and you'll do that all the way down the table for number 3. Number 4, it says, write a recursive rule for the height of the ball for each successive bounce. So this is, again, a recursive rule. Remember, a recursive rule is going to relate a to the n plus 1 and a to the n. And I'm going to put, this isn't the final answer because you're going to need to calculate that for your answer. However, let me change this to black. And I'm going to put like a dot, dot, dot here. You need to tell me, what do you do to one number to get the next one? We did it up here, right? So what do you do to 2 to get to the next number? What do you do to 1.1 to get to the next number? And that's what will go here, the function. Do you multiply? Do you add? Do you subtract? Do you do a combination of some of those things to a to the n to get to a to the n plus 1? And then number 5 says describe in words. Well, I think you can probably put that into words, and then I'll let you do that because we've gone over that already. And then you'll enter the bounce data height into the graphing calculator and make a scatter plot and sketch it below. So you can either put it in the graphing calculator and view it and copy it, or you can just take the graph, the information from the graph. The first one in our graph was 0, 2. So you'll go to 0, 2 and put a point. Let me change that to red so you can see it better. Red, let me delete that one. There. Put 0, 2. And then on the next bounce, which is after the first bounce, it went to 1.1, so that's here. And then you'll continue to put the values in from the table that you've completed in number 3. Number 7, what kind of function might model the tennis ball bounce situation? Well, it certainly decreases. So is it a linear decrease or exponential? Whatever the kind of function that it is will be your answer to number 7. Number 8, look back at the table you generated in question 3. Write a function rule. So function rule is different from what we did in number 4. Our function rule is going to be y equals blah, 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 and you're going to have an x over here somewhere. X is going to be represent, let's see, hold on, let me see if this is right. Yeah. Well, you don't actually have to do y's and x's, but I do find it easier to do that. And it's going to say, this would give you like, for example, if I said, what is the height after the 5th bounce? Well, instead of having to go times 50 0.55 times 0.55 times 0.55 times 0.55 and so on. This would just allow you to plug in a 5 and it would automatically give you the Y value or the bounce after the 5th time it hits the ground. If you need more help with number 8, please email your teacher or look thoroughly back through the content. And number 9 is where you're going to test your function rule. Can you put 5 in for X and it gives you the answer that you calculated here in your table? If so, then hopefully your function rule is correct. Number 10 is, let's see, suppose a tennis ball is dropped from 20 feet. How many times does it bounce before it has a bounce height of less than 4 inches? So that would be if you continued your table all the way until you got a height less than 4 inches, then how many bounces would it take? So you would go up to your table and see if 7 wasn't enough, then you'd have to go to 8, 9, 10, and so forth. But you want it to have the first bounce where there is a height that's less than 4 inches. You could also plug in 4 into your function and then solve for X. That's just an alternative way. And then what is the total vertical distance that the ball from question 10 has traveled after 6 bounces? Well, graphically, okay, let's forget the graph for 1 minute in regards to the decrease that has occurred. But your ball is going to bounce like this, right? So you're going to have a distance here for the first time it's dropped. Then it's going to go back up and you're going to have a distance. Then it's going to go back down and you're going to have a distance. Back up, back down, back up, back down, and so forth. And when you add up all of those distances there, you need to get, and it wants 6 bounces. So you're going to have to add up all of those distances there after 6 bounces. Okay? So you can calculate that by using your data that you collected in your table. And number 12, how can you decide if a data set can be modeled by an exponential function, and how are recursive rules different from function rules for modeling exponential data, and how are they the same? You need to go back to your course content and take a look at all of the data regarding exponential functions and make sure that you understand how exponential functions are representative, what they mean, how fast they decrease, how slow they decrease, what the recursive rules look like for modeling exponential data, and then describe how they are the same for number 12. Hopefully this will help you, and if you have any additional questions, please contact your teacher.